On this episode of Carnage, we're back on Dad's ute. Yes, the parts have arrived. So now that the Supermang is back up and running again, we've decided to dive back into Dad's ute. The parts have arrived. We've been waiting on these parts. And we've got some pulleys. Well, there's the bottom pulley for the crank, nice and shiny. We've got a flex plate here. So this one, much more compact than the other one, the traditional star shape. So this one will work with our starter motor, so we'll be able to turn the motor over. It's second hand, but not very second hand. It's almost like someone's taken it out of the packet, worked out it wasn't for them, and then sold it. And, it only cost me like 25 bucks, so bargain. Also got some new uni joints and stuff there. Decided I'm going to stick with the old tail shaft, so I'll give the old tail shaft a bit of a rub down with some wet and dry, hit it with some paint, put some new uni joints in it, and we'll go that way. A few people were angry with the suggestion of me going to get a new tail shaft. Are you made of money? Well, no, I'm not. You're right, I'm not. So, and there's no reason why I can't at least try the old tail shaft, but if it tears my ute in two, I'll have words to say. Anyway, all right, we got stuff to do, lots to do, so I'm going to start with the transmission. Let's drop the trans out quickly, and we'll do this flex plate. Whoop, don't you dare. Well, let's not screw about. To whom the bell tolls. Dun, 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 dun. Well, bit of cursing and swearing, but we got it done. So I've already sat the water pump pulley on there. It's loosely bolted up, looks pretty good. We'll line up our crank pulley, put that in, and then we'll do the radiator. Going to pinch Mr. Dodgy's alternator for the time being. so to mount the alternator up, I've got this billet aluminium kit here from Summit Racing. The instructions are a little bit like hieroglyphics, so yeah, I've just got to do some kind of working out. This part mounts to the alternator, I know that. And then this part obviously mounts down here onto the water pump. Hopefully, I can make it all fit. That's the plan. Okay, so go into there. Okay, wow, that doesn't look too bad at all. That's how's the belt alignment? Oh yeah, that's pretty much spot on. Actually looks pretty tight. I like it. Whew, that's not bad for a Friday afternoon. Well, I forgot about this bit, but there is actually a very shiny pulley for the alternator as well, so we'll mount that up later, but oh, it goes that way. Wow, doesn't that look shiny? So here we are Monday, we're back again. Now I've got this shiny little pulley that I'd like to use on our alternator. Of course, we've got to get the old one off, and I don't think that's going to be an easy job. All right, we'll see how we go. There we have it. All right, so you just saw me having a little bit of difficulty there pulling the pulley off this Mopar alternator. Now, these alternators, they are not bolted on, well, the pulley's not bolted on. All it does is they're a press fit thing, but they use a lot of force. That's pretty clear. Alright. So that's our pulley. So originally I tried pulling it from the back of the pulley there with a 3-jaw puller. That wasn't going to work. So I did a bit of internet research and I found out that this lug on the front is where you pull from. Now they make a very specific tool in the US, which what it is 2 halves of a shell, much like the bearing separator, which go around that, and then a sleeve goes around the 2 halves of the shell, and then, you know, there's bolts and things that push in the front, and basically that pulls your pulley off. And it all works quite simply. So what I've had to use is this little bearing separator, which kind of does a very similar job. I've made it work, although it's not really the way that they designed to do it. Anyway, we have it off our alternator now. And you're probably saying, you should have that alternator out in the vise, and you're right, I should, and I'm gonna have to do it anyway, because to put the other pulley on, this little pulley, we're not smacking that with a hammer. That has to be pressed on. And to press it on, you can't just bang that in a press. You actually have to separate the 2 halves of the alternator. Yeah. This is going to suck a little bit. But anyway, the things that we do. The things we do for love. But it's so shiny. All right. Now the fun part. Okay, so we're going to have to separate the 2 halves of our alternator. It's not that hard. We're just got to remove our brushes, which are there and there. And then these 3 bolts, 1, 2, and there's one under there. So it's not hard, it's just a little bit painful, that's all. Let's get to work. All right, there we have it, our 2 halves. Okay, well, the next bit, put that in a press that on. No problems. So that went all reasonably well. I guess it's time for some reassembly. Okay. And there we have it. Brushes are in, pulley is on, and it spins freely, which is good. All right, let's get it back in the car. All right. I forgot something. Gotta put that on the alternator as well. And the pulleys all line up. Shiny. Rub-a-dub. So we've got our pulleys on, we've got our alternator mounted, but something else we've also addressed is our rocker cover clearance. Now before we had the rocker covers sitting against the intake manifold and it wasn't allowing them to bolt down and compress the gaskets properly. Well, now we've addressed that issue, so we've got plenty of clearance. What we did was we took them off, well, we marked the offending areas, took them off, put them on the grinder and just linished a nice little gap on the grinder. And now it is mint. So now that that's all done, well, I guess we should keep working the list. That is a long list. Rocker covers, Flexplate, pulleys, so now I figure it's time to put in this very sexy dipstick with a nice locking cap. Alrighty, should have done this when I put the trans in, but anyway, here we go. What I've got to do, undo that bolt. This thing's proving difficult, so I'm just going to lower the back of the trans down so we can get this dipstick tube in there properly. Come on, baby. That was a mission, but we got it there. Makes me wonder how many more times I'll be undoing these bolts and doing them up. Seems to be a reoccurring theme. So I had a feeling this would happen. It's put our dipstick in a very awkward spot right under the master cylinder. So I've got two choices. I can bend it down and give myself a straighter shot under the master cylinder, or bend it up and come in behind the rocker cover. So that's very tight real estate there anyway. So I think I might bend down. Let's see how we go. All right, I'm gonna stick in there. This is not the first time I've had to do this. You may have noticed. So the problem is that the dipsticks are all made for American cars and they don't have a master cylinder there. If it wasn't for that, it'd be all happy days. But yeah, it just needs a little bit of clearance and we're almost there. Well, that looks a bit better. Okay. And there we have it. Comes out easy. Back down the hole, lock it off. Happy days. And another thing we can mark off our list.